What's up, New York Mets Nation? The Bat Frie here with the Bat Cave. Coming up on this episode, we'll be finishing up my grading. You know, like last week, if you remember, I did the position players and the hitters, whatever the hell you want to call them. This week, I'll finish up with the pitchers. I'll also take a look at a little bit of news and notes and some trade rumors and free agency type rumors and whatnot and whatever else we want to talk about, right? So buckle up. Here we go, and it's hump day. I'll be right back. Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Frie. And you know what day it is. It's glorious. It is wonderful. It is hump day. That's who we are. That's what we are. We are the hump day people. It is hump day. I love hump day. You gotta love it. Why would you not love hump day? Week's halfway over. You know, as the old saying goes, it's all downhill from here. Unless you got to work the weekend like a sucker. I got to work this weekend. It's my weekend to work, so I am the sucker. I will be working this weekend, so but it is what it is. Need that cashola. Need to make bank, or whatever the kids are saying nowadays. Yeah. So I hope everybody's doing well. First and foremost, again, I know it's a couple days past then, but I want to say Happy Veterans Day. Thank you all for your service. And if you didn't see Monday's show, I did the Silver and Black Lair LA Kings edition. I'll reiterate, thank you to all service members, past, present, and future, I guess, especially those close to me, my brother, Dorian, Dan. We call him Dan for short. My sister-in-law, Chastity, they met in the Marines. My grandmother's husband has said, I mentioned this on the show Monday. I don't know. I always felt weird saying step-grandpa. It's always kind of weird. So then I say my grandmother's husband, and, it's just it sounds even weirder. So I'm going to go, my grandfather. So I'm lucky enough to have had a couple grandfathers, and he was a Marine, very proud Marine. My grandfather that was married to my grandmother previously, he was in the Navy. He has since passed away a few years ago. My uncle in the Marines. I had another uncle in the Army, and of course, the second most important man in my life, my father-in-law, Dave. He was in the Army, a long-time serving member. Thank you. And of course, there's multiple other, cousins and such, and, a ton of friends out there that I know either, from my years at school or past school. And, now that I'm in the workforce, the old, manufacturing lifestyle, nothing like it. To all those people, thank you. Thank you for your service. In our armed forces, and it's it truly is amazing the commitment that you have to put forth to do something like that, not knowing what you're going into, not knowing, through basic training, you hear stuff and whatnot, and you go into it and you just don't know what to expect fully, and then you go through that and you serve your years or whatever it is, and then you have the opportunity either to continue it or to go back being a civilian or whatever it is, or reserves or whatever. As you can tell, I did not serve. I'm staying here, trying to, work my ass through this and and not sound like a complete moron. But I did. I did try to enlist in the Army when I was a senior in high school. I was senior or junior, whatever it was. Met with the recruiter at my house, talked for about an hour and a half, and his final question was, "Are there any injuries, major surgeries that you had, any metal in your body, or anything like that I should know about? Any diseases, illnesses, or whatever?" I said, my sophomore year in high school, I did have ACL reconstruction where I have a couple screws in my knee. To that, he says, "Well, you're no good. We cannot accept you. Your paperwork will not go through unless there's a major conflict." And this is before 9/11. So that was it. Shook hands, parted ways. And when I graduated, I went into the workforce, and that's what it was. So I it sounds kind of not the best to say, but I felt like I kind of lucked out a little bit. I wouldn't do well in Afghanistan or Pakistan or Iraqistan or whatever. I would not have done well. I don't think. I don't know. I'm more of a pretty face than a killing face or a battle ready type face. I'm more of a handsome guy. Nah, but yeah. So that's what happened. That's what happened with my why I didn't serve. I had every plan to. I knew I wasn't going to go to college. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to play football. I wanted to continue playing football. But I didn't have the grades for it. I didn't do well in school, and that's a lesson learned, and that's something I can pass on to my kids. Stick your little noses in the books. Study and do your homework, get good grades, and you won't have to worry about working swing shift or night shift or some shit ass job that doesn't pay or whatever. No, I'm not. That's not where I work now. I've always been fairly lucky, I think, with the jobs that I've had since I've entered the workforce. Christmas, 25 years ago, whatever it is now. Working at a job where I always got paid well. Unfortunately, in my first 17 years working for a steel manufacturer, it was 7 days a week nonstop. Swing shift. It was just constant. And but now where I work, it's a little bit easier, straight shift, and I'm not mandated to work every weekend, just every fourth weekend. So it's fine. It's easy work. It's not bad at all. And like I said, I get paid well. But anyway, enough about that. I don't even know why the hell I got into that part of it. But anyway, I got a couple comments here before I continue rambling on here. Oh, I haven't heard from you in a while, Fantasy Football Girl. Thank you for your service. Very much appreciated. And that's awesome. 13 years in the Army. And it's like I don't know if I could have done that. I look back on it. I see now my father-in-law. I think he aged out. Either he aged out or he had his maximum years of service, and then he had to retire. Whatever it was, he was pretty much a lifer. And so I look to see where he's at in his life, and I'm like maybe if I would have been able to get in, maybe I would have became a lifer, and I would have been where he was. But he's much more smarter man than I am. So maybe I wouldn't have. Maybe I would have been grunting all along. I don't know. All right. Maybe I can answer it. I didn't have any questions or whatever. I was just kind of rambling on about the military and talking about stuff I really didn't know much about. Go Cubs. There you go. Go Cubs. It's going to be interesting to see what the Cubs do this offseason. See what they add, what they subtract. I'm not sure exactly where their payroll is. I guess you look at it, they kind of did have a disappointing season. The Cubs, they did add a good bit. I felt like last offseason, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember they were fairly active last offseason, at least trying to in some of the sweepstakes for some of the higher named players, but still coming away with some decent free agents last year. They got the one Japanese pitcher. I feel like His name is escaping me right now. He was a bullpen guy, I believe. But or maybe I'm wrong. No, maybe he was a starter. I can't remember. But yeah, I'd expect the Cubs to be pretty big players. I think this offseason, Soto to the Cubs. You never know. You never know. I don't know if they have that kind of cheddar to afford Soto. But one of the names that has popped up, with the Cubs, since June, July, whatever it's been, since you start looking ahead a little bit, has been Pete Alonso's name. Pete Alonso's name came up a lot with Chicago, and to be 100% honest with you, I could almost see him in a Cubs uniform. As much as it bothers me to see that, to even imagine that, I that's one name I could see actually happening. It's a historic franchise, and I could see Pete wanting to play for a historic franchise. Chicago loves their baseball, they love their Cubs, and I feel like Pete would do well in Chicago. I really do. So, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully Pete stays in New York and doesn't go to Chicago. Not to disappoint you, but and the Juan Soto, I just don't see him going to the Cubs. I just don't know if the Cubs have the money to afford him without breaking down the rest of the roster. I don't know. I don't know what their ownership's like, what their money situation's like. Like I said, with their willingness to deep dive into the luxury taxes and stuff like that, Cohen tax and all that good stuff. How deep are they willing to go? How far into the deep end? Before they take the waiters off. It remains to be seen. There's a couple teams that you hear about out there. Kind of, I heard Toronto Blue Jays, of course, the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers. I did hear Cubs again, but I'm not really. I don't think it's going to go that way. I think I've heard Did I hear the Giants? I think I might have heard the Giants. Who else did I hear? But from what I understand, he does have it narrowed down to 4 teams. Unfortunately, I cannot remember all 4. I remember 3. It was the Dodgers, Mets, Yankees. And the 4th team escapes me right now. Who the 4th team was? The Washington Nationals was another team that was rumored that could be on Juan Soto. Why the hell would he want to go back there? But anyway, I don't think they're one of the 4 teams that he has it narrowed down to. And again, this is all interweb type rumor stuff. So what's true, what's not true, who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? But it's fun to speculate. It really is a lot of fun to speculate. You can make pretty much up anything you want and throw it out there. Who knows? Who's the wiser? Who really cares? You just throw it out there and see if it got legs. And if it got legs, a lot of people start believing you, or somebody else start arguing with you, or kind of like agreeing with you, and there you go. So you're not really the media. You're just on social media. You throw out whatever the hell you want. But yeah. I don't think so either. I heard he's asking for over 500. I heard over 600. Again, nothing's etched in stone because it's all rumor until it's actually done. I heard over 600 million. It's good to hear from you again, Fantasy Football Girl. Hopefully your Cubs do well in this free agency. Your Colts shit the bed. So I guess you have the Hoosiers. I don't know what the Hoosiers are looking like. I see your avatar logo, whatever the hell you want to call it, for the Indiana Hoosiers. I don't know what their basketball team looks like this year, but I think the football team is doing well. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. So yeah, I'll talk to you later. It's good talking to you, Fantasy Football Girl. It's been a while, and don't be a stranger. I'll be live again tomorrow talking Raiders. All right. So going back to my grades, the grading. If I'm going to go ahead and repeat the position players I did last week, really quick run through them, and then I'll go ahead and hit the pitchers up. I had a whole host of pitchers, like bullpen wise. I'm going to cut that down a little bit. I don't want to be on here too long. I feel like sometimes I get a little bit long-winded. Like right now, I didn't really start doing anything yet, and I'm already 15 minutes in. It's like, what the hell am I even talking about now? So I'm going to go ahead and rip this off and go ahead. So bench-wise, I gave B- to Luis Torrens. If you wanted to hear the breakdowns as to why I graded these guys, go ahead back and check last week's episode. Kind of each grade, I kind of gave a reason why they got this grade, and whatever. So B- Luis Torrens. Is a B plus for Luis Angel Acuna. A C plus for Jesse Winker in the regular season. I gave him an A in the postseason, even though I wasn't great in postseason. C plus for Harrison Bader. An A for Mark Vientos. Now I'm in the infield here. B plus for Francisco Lindor. A minus for Iglesias. D plus for Jeff McNeil. A B minus for Pete Alonso. Outfield, C plus for Brandon Nimmo. C for Tyrone Taylor. C for Starling Marte. DH, I went C minus JD Martinez. Catching wise, I went D plus for Francisco Alvarez. And that was my position players. And I still have all the confidence in the world for Francisco Alvarez. I really do. I feel like he's outstanding. So that D plus, I'm not worried about Francisco Alvarez. I think he'll bounce back really good this year. And last season will be just a blip, throughout his career. Nothing big. All right. So pitching wise, I'll start with some relievers, and I'll go from there. Phil Maton, I gave a C. Regular season wise, decent. Decent to good. He did pitch some pretty big spots to regular season. When it got towards the end, again, we picked Phil Maton up at the trade deadline. When it got towards the end, when it got down to the nitty gritty, I felt like he was getting knocked around a good bit more down the stretch run than what I would have liked than he was before. But again, it was somebody that had experience, had playoff experience, had postseason experience, had that experience of being in important games down the stretch, important moments. And I felt like there was moments where he performed, there was moments where he didn't perform. And when you trade for somebody at the trade deadline, you're looking for them to perform all the time. So you're looking to say, hey, we're looking to make a playoff push. That's why you go out and get somebody like that. And if he's only performing half the time, that's no good. It's no good in my mind. So I gave Phil Maton a C. Postseason, not great either. Maybe one or two spots he pitched well, but besides that, Jose Budo out of the bullpen, I gave a B. Regular season wise, again, I'm just pretty much looking at regular season. Phenomenal. When he moved to the bullpen, phenomenal. Pitched terrific out of the bullpen. You could just look, he had a hell of a run there where he looked unhittable. Unfortunately, as the regular season wound down, I felt like he was starting to get touched up a bit, and he rolled into the postseason. I feel like that's why we didn't see him as much in the postseason, was because the Mets coaching staff, Carlos Mendoza and such, those guys knew that, either he didn't have the stuff that he did earlier in the bullpen in the season when he first moved to the bullpen, or teams kind of caught on to him, to his stuff and whatever, through film and stuff. I'm not really exactly sure, but he did get touched up a bit, down the stretch run as well. But overall, very, very good. Very good. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if he did compete for a starting pitching role. So we'll see what happens. There's a freaking cat behind me. All I saw was tail. I hear meow, meow. Scared the hell out of me. Reed Garrett. Again, unfortunately, Reed Garrett, not unfortunately. I'm thinking of somebody totally different. He had a really good season. I was thinking Sean Reed Foley getting hurt. Reed Garrett had a terrific season, really did. Started off the season like a bat out of hell, striking everybody out. Looked, unhittable. Looked fantastic. Hit a little bit of a lull in the middle of the season where he was getting touched up a good bit, and he kind of lost it. He lost his control. He lost a little bit on his fastball. I feel like it was down a little bit. And I'm trying to think of is it a sweeper that he throws or a cutter? Or whatever it was, I can't think of it right now. He lost a bit of a bite on that as well. But he was able to get it back, near the end of the season, last 2 months or so. And he pitched very good there as well. And in the postseason, I thought he pitched well. So Reed Garrett, I thought he did a really good job. B, Adam Ottavino, F. If you're a Mets fan, you know why. If you're not a Mets fan, he got an F because he sucked. So there you go. I don't know how else to put it. He was awful all season long. Occasionally, he'd have a good outing, and it was a shock. It shouldn't be a shock when your relief pitcher has a good outing. If it is, you know that you're up to shit creek with no paddle. So F. Ottavino, I don't know where he goes, if he retires or if he gives it one more go with another team. I don't want to see him back in New York. And and I'm somebody that really, really wanted Ottavino back after the 2022 season. I wanted Ottavino back, and I wanted Lugo. The Mets give Lugo a chance as a starting pitcher, and unfortunately, we brought Ottavino back, and Lugo moved on and became an outstanding starting pitcher. And Ottavino lost whatever he had in 2022. So, bummer. Ryan Stanek, another trade deadline pickup. I gave him a C+. He pitched well for the Mets. Early on, I felt like after they picked him up, he got knocked around a little bit, kind of a little bit of a letdown. He was open to a lot of criticism then. But as the season went on, as the weeks and months went on, second half of the season down the stretch run, he pitched very well. He pitched really well. He pitched really well in the playoffs as well. So I was happy with Stanek. I'm hoping they bring Stanek back. I feel like he's a free agent. So I would like to see them bring him back over Phil Maton. But we'll see what happens from there. Edwin Diaz, I gave a C+ as well. It was such a weird season for Edwin Diaz. And it's something I talked about preseason wise. What to expect from Edwin Diaz coming off a major knee injury, and I said I wouldn't expect this season to be your typical Edwin Diaz type season, where don't expect him to be 2022 Edwin Diaz. Where it's just lights out. Narcos. Everything, all that good stuff. Expect him to struggle, and he did struggle. And I don't know if it's because of a knee injury or what it was, but out of the gates, struggling, blowing 7 saves. I think it was. I don't know if it was 7 saves from May or whatever it was, but just blowing a ton of saves. And then the sticky stuff situation, and coming back and pitching very good after he came back from the suspension. And I guess he was off also for a little bit for an injury. I think like an extra week or two, whatever it was. Came back and lost his closer role for like a game, for whatever that was worth. But he pitched well then. He pitched well, and it looked like all right. Maybe Edwin Diaz kind of figured this out. Maybe he's feeling good now. But then he started getting rocked again. And every time they call him in, you're on the edge of your seat. You don't know what the hell's going to happen. You're just waiting for the inevitable. You're waiting for him to walk a couple guys and give up a long ball or some smashed hit down the line or whatever to clear the bases. And you're just waiting on it. And that sucks. That's a shitty feeling to have from your all-star closer, from your highly paid closer. And it does. It just blows. But then down the stretch run, kind of figured it out a little bit. Still, it wasn't. You didn't feel good about him. You didn't feel good that he could go in there and get the job done every time. But he was pitching much better than he was before. So you felt he had a little bit more confidence, and you go into the postseason. And I thought he looked very good in the postseason. I thought he looked very good. The Mets relied on him heavily in some really tough situations. And I thought he did a pretty good job. So, but I gave a C+ for him. He still had a bunch of struggles. Looking at his stats here, he went 53 and 2/3 innings pitched, 6-4 record, 3.52 ERA, 1.04 WHIP. So the WHIP wasn't all that high. He kept it down pretty good with the walks and hits per innings pitched. 84 strikeouts to 20 walks. That's a pretty good ratio. But again, 27 save chances, only 20 saves. So he had 7 blow saves there. Tough spot. Tough season for him. Adrian Hauser F. Jake Diekman, I gave a D. I was expecting more out of Diekman. Dednell Nunez, I didn't grade him. I gave him kind of an incomplete, just because of the injury. I feel like when he was pitching, he did a hell of a job. Did a great job, Dednell Nunez. That's hard to say. Whenever I heard that. Keith, Ron, or Gary say it. I always sound like Dead Nail. So I like, hey, there's Dead Nail Nunez. So it's, and then I listen to Locked On Mets. Ryan Finkelstein sounds like he's saying Daniel Nunez. So I'm like, is it Dead Nail or is it Daniel? I don't freaking know. It's Dead Nail. It's still really hard to say. There's a D word. There shouldn't be a D. There should be an N or something. I don't know. Eileen checking in. Hump day, Eileen. Hump day. There it is. Dave Darnell, what's going on, big man? Mets had a magical season. They really did. A magical season, a magical run. It was such a crazy-ass season, Dave. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I really wouldn't. And if you go back to my preseason predictions, I said between 82 and 85 wins. They surpassed that. I said there was a chance they could make the wild card. They made the wild card. And like I always say in every show that I do, when we get to close to postseason play, if my team has a chance to get in the postseason, it doesn't matter how you get in, where you get in. Everybody starts off 0-0. Anything can happen. And the Mets went out there. They beat the number 3 seed, and they beat the number 2 seed. And unfortunately, they came up short against the number 1 seed. But they took 2 games against them. And, the 4 that they lost weren't even close, but still, we took 2 games against them. And we'll just deal with that. We'll take that. We'll take that. Just a great season. Really, a lot of fun. This season was a lot of fun. Eileen, dear Ken, don't steal Soto. Sincerely, me. Eileen, we're going to try to steal him. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens if the Mets do steal him, what they do with the rest of their roster. It's not out of the realm of possibilities where they could sign Soto and still sign Alonso, or still go ahead and sign something like Corbin Burns, a top flight free agent pitcher. But that's going to just skyrocket the salary, the salary cap. So hands are freezing. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where Soto goes. I seen on X where it said that he had it narrowed down to 4 spots, and it was Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, and I don't know who the other one was. I don't know if it's like Red Sox or Cubs or who it was. I don't remember. But the 3 I do remember: the Yankees, Mets, and Dodgers. And I swear to God, if he goes to the Dodgers, I'm gonna throw up everywhere. And I don't remember hearing the Phillies names at all. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Soto will stay with the Yankees. And then, Dave, you know what? To be 100% honest with you, that's what I think is going to happen as well. They made it to the World Series. They're just, maybe a player or 2 away from being World Series champions. They put up a really good battle against the Dodgers, even though they only took 1 game against them. It could have been, very easily could have been a different series. Each game was close. That game 1, and going to extra innings. Jack off Freddie Freeman doing what he did. And, it very well could have easily been a different series, if they take game 1 and, kind of seize momentum from the Dodgers. But that's where I think he's going to stay with the Yankees. I just have a hard time seeing him. Why would you not want to stay with the Yankees? You got Aaron Judge, hitting 55, 60 home runs every season, and, Stanton and stuff like that. And, the Yankee mystique and, the lore, the history. And, I don't think the Yankees are what they used to be, meaning back when I was in high school and stuff during the Jeter days, the evil Empire Yankees, that's where the high-end free agents wanted to go. They wanted to go play for New York. They wanted to go play for a World Series. And, George Steinbrenner, would get those guys, bring them in and sign them for usually longer-term type contracts. A lot of people – it's one thing I always argue, as much as, I love my Mets and whatnot, and, as a Mets fan, you're supposed to hate the Yankees. Well, I'm not a native New Yorker. So I don't have that feeling passionately like a lot of native New Yorkers, may, that are Mets fans hate Yankees, and, vice versa. Yankees hate Mets. So I don't have to follow that guideline. I don't have to hate the Yankees. And one of my, constant battles with friends as I was growing up where, the Yankees are just buying World Series. Like, I don't see how they're buying World Series because they're not just getting these guys as rentals. They're getting these guys and they're signing them, 2, 3, 4, 4 years for contract, for multiple seasons and keeping these guys around. Some of these guys, not all of them, but a lot of them. It's that to me, that's not buying a championship. That's creating sustainability. That's creating that's making you year in and year out the best team, the team to beat. Instead of we like the Marlins. The Marlins, for example, buying their World Series. Now, absolutely, they bought their World Series. What they do? They bought some high end free agents, a season before, and they go in, they win the World Series, and they blow it up. And then it's another so many years, they do the same thing. Bring in a couple high-end free agents, pair them up with their young studs, win the World Series, blow it up. And, that's just not the high-end free agents. The high-end free agents, their young studs, all gone. So the Marlins, that's how you buy a World Series. Yankees, I felt like they did it, and they did it to sustain a level where they could win your World Series year in and year out and maybe add 1 or 2 pieces and go from there. So that's an argument I always had. And whether or not I was right or wrong, it doesn't really matter. Now, that's just an opinion I had. Dave says, the real question is, does Peter stay or go? Dave, it's a tough one. That is such a tough question. If you would have asked me beginning of the season, I 99% he stays. Where I sit right now, I'm at like 70%. And, that's not good for me. I'm being a big Pete Alonso fan. I'm like 70%, positive he's going to stay. And, and as the days go by, each passing day, I feel a little bit less confident that he's going to stay. Because you just don't know. The Mets go out there and look for somebody like a Soto or you're hearing a lot of, Willie Adames type, rumors or whatever. I'll get into that in a little bit here. But who knows what's going to happen then? Which direction they're going to go. Especially with the emergence of Mark Vientos, and you hear a lot of the talking heads or the Mets fans online saying that Vientos could go over and play first base and move Pete, leave Pete walk, not pay him what he wants or whatever, that he's not worth it. And I just continuously go back to this was his down season. This was a down year for him, and he still hit 30 plus home runs, 80 plus RBI. Fell short of 100 RBI, hit 240 plus. Still had a hell of a season for a down year. That's his down year. So I mean, I don't know. It's a bummer if he does leave. But first and foremost, I'm a Mets fan. It is what it is. I'll always root for the Mets. I'll always be a Mets fan. And players come and go. I'd still root for Pete no matter where he went, unless he went to the Braves or Phillies, or anybody else in the NL East for that matter. I'd still root for him. But anywhere else, I'd still, as long as he wasn't playing the Mets or if he's going for a playoff spot that the Mets are trying to go for, I will root against Pete Alonso. But hopefully, he gets re-signed and I don't have to worry about it. It's really it's frustrating. He did step up in the playoffs. And again, that's the one thing that turned a lot of people's minds around was how he played in the playoffs. But again, to be neutral here on this, you look at the season as a whole. Then, all right, what did he do different in the playoffs that he didn't do in the regular season? And for me, I watch it. He was more patient at the plate. He wasn't constantly chasing those down and away sliders or down and away breaking balls, and he was going opposite field instead of trying to pull everything. And so I asked, why didn't he do that earlier? Why was he not doing that in the season? It just seemed like something clicked there at the end of the season, going to the postseason. Like, why wasn't this done sooner? Why, we've been, as a Mets fan, as a part of Mets Nation, I've heard the nation members yell and scream and stomp their feet. Stop swinging at the goddamn outside pitch. Stop pulling the ball. Hit the ball opposite field. When Pete Alonso's right, he's hitting home runs opposite field. And crushing balls, when he does pull them. Not constantly pulling balls. Well, that sounds weird to say. But anyway, when he started taking the ball opposite field, and, he was Pete Alonso again, basically. So, and taking walks and not striking out as much. It's just a bummer. It took all season into the postseason to get him there. If he would have gotten there sooner, who knows? We probably wouldn't have this conversation. He probably already been re-signed. Probably already would have been offered a contract. It'd be a done deal. But here we are. So to finish up the grading, here we are with the starting pitchers. Jose Quintana, gave him a B-. I thought he had a very up and down season, but the way he finished, the way he pitched in the second half of the season was fantastic. You couldn't ask for more from Jose Quintana. Absolutely amazing. Luis Severino, I gave a B. He pitched 31 starts, 182 innings pitched, 11-7 record, 3.91 ERA, 1.24 WHIP, 161 strikeouts to 60 walks. Christian Scott, again, it was a very abbreviated because he was up and down in the minors. And then he also hurt, and then Tommy John. So we're not even going to see him next season. But I gave him a C+. 9 starts, 47 innings pitched, 0-3, 4.56 ERA, 1.20 WHIP, 39 strikeouts to 12 walks. And the thing with Christian Scott, first couple of times through the lineup, looked phenomenal, looked very good, looked dominant. As soon as you got to the third time around in the lineup, guys started hitting them, and that was it. Couldn't get past the fifth. And I feel like when he comes back from Tommy John, rehabs and all that good stuff, I feel like he'll be back, and hopefully he learns from what little experience he did have this past season in the major leagues. David Peterson, I gave him a B. He had 21 starts this season. He started the season on the injured list. So he started a little bit late. So he had 21 starts, 121 innings pitched, record of 10-3, 2.90 ERA, 1.29 WHIP, 101 strikeouts, 46 walks. Phenomenal season by David Peterson. That's the David Peterson we all want to see. Dominant lefty, was fantastic. Super live fastball, great breaking stuff. Was very smart. Control was better. At times it was still shaky at times. But for the most part, much better. Sean Manaea, I gave an A. Outstanding. He was the ace of our staff this year. First, let's say month or two of the season. I talked about it a bunch of times on the show early in the season. Just, 5 innings, that's all you can get out of the guy. 5 innings. He had 100-plus pitches at 5 innings already, and that's all you're getting out of him. And he was keeping the runs low. But you need him to go a little bit deeper. You need to save the bullpen a little bit, and you just weren't getting that from him. Then he figured out the whole arm slot thing, and pitching the benders and stuff, the sweepers, and his fastball, and it's just really became one hell of a pitcher. Really great job. He ended up having 32 starts, career highs. Then you've seen that in the playoffs, in the postseason against the Dodgers. Some of these starting pitchers really gassed out, and they're at career years, for innings pitched or games started. So it's to be expected. So maybe next season, if they do come back to the Mets, Severino or Manaea or Quintana, they'll be a little bit more stretched out or a little bit more prepared what to expect as the long season goes, and you head into the postseason, and you're expected to perform at even a higher standard than what you did during the regular season. So, like I said, 32 starts, 181 and 2/3 innings pitched, 12-6 record, 3.47 ERA, 1.08 WHIP, fantastic. 184 strikeouts to 63 walks. Then we have Tyler McGill. I gave him a C+. He started 15 games, 78 innings pitched, 4-5 record, 4.04 ERA, 1.31 WHIP, 91 strikeouts, 32 walks. The walks again still creep up on Tyler McGill. He does have some good stuff, and I envision Tyler McGill now as a spot starter, but mostly working out of the bullpen. That's where I see Tyler McGill now, moving forward. His brother is a fantastic reliever. I feel like Tyler McGill, who does have some pretty good power pitches, maybe not quite to the level of his brother, but maybe he can get there. You just commit to being a bullpen guy, and then work on getting that fastball up a tick and and the breaking stuff. So, and he already has a good fastball. 98, 99, 100 mile an hour fastball, and he's an array of breaking pitches, off speed stuff, and whatnot. So it's just honing them, breaking it down to maybe 2 or 3 pitches, and become a bullpen guy. So, that's what I see happening with Tyler McGill. All right. So moving on from there, that's all my grades. I'm going to shut the book on that. My notebook, my trusty dusty notebook. You see it here. It says, "I love Kenny forever." My boy Sean Lazarchik. Put that piece of tape on the piece of machinery that I run that he also ran. And of course, I had to keep it. You're my boy, Sean. All right. So moving on to some rumors and type, whatever that you're hearing on X. If anybody's hearing any rumors about your team, the Mets or whatever, throw it out there. I'd love to hear what kind of rumors you're hearing. But anyway, I've been hearing the last couple of days about Garrett Crochet from the Chicago White Sox trade. I don't know who you would trade for him. A young guy, very young guy, a young left-handed pitcher, 25 years old, currently be in his 26-year-old season next year. This year was his first year as a starter. He spent a couple years as a relief pitcher, and they kind of slowly built him up. I feel like they probably had him on an innings limit this season. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know a whole lot about him. But he was a first-year starter, 6-12. I believe he was an all-star as well. He was the White Sox all-star. 3.58 ERA. 146 strikeouts and 32 walks, a 1.068 whip, 6.33 strikeouts to walk ratio. Very good stuff. The one thing you worry about, especially becoming a new starter, is the injury factor. It's almost inevitable now, especially with younger pitchers. The hard throwing pitchers. When is the arm injury going to happen? It's not if, it's when. Now, it just really does seem inevitable, where every high-octane power pitcher out there is just sooner or later going to have that Tommy John surgery. It's just going to happen. So when is this going to happen for Garrett Crochet? You go out, you trade for him, you sign him to a 6-year deal, and all of a sudden, second year into that, blows out his arm. You lose that second year, you lose the third year, comes back to fourth year, not quite the same yet, and now you're into the fifth year. And before you actually get to see what he can do, it's tough. It's a tough call. Pitchers, it is a tough string to pull right now for pitchers, because you just don't know. You want to pay a lot of money because they're so important, pitchers, especially good young starting pitchers, just you wish you had a crystal ball to kind of say, all right, this is when he's gonna tear his UCL. This is when he's going to have Tommy John surgery. Is it worth it? So is it worth trading for Garrett Crochet? I think so, but it all depends on what you're going to give up for Garrett Crochet. And you're going to imagine, since the White Sox are rebuilding, that it's going to be younger type prospects. And who are you willing to depart with? And, they're going to want top tier prospects. I'm not even sure if they're looking to trade Garrett Crochet or not. I don't know. That's just something I've seen popping up on X and my Google. A Google page or whatever, that comes up in a bunch of articles or news blocks or whatever for different type things that apparently I search up. And, so a lot of it's, Raiders, Kings, Mets, Batman. That's a lot of what you see, occasional Walking Dead sprinkled in there. But anyway, so who are you willing to depart with? And just looking at some of the Mets' top prospects here, Jet Williams, Drew Gilbert, Ryan Clifford, Ryan Mauricio, Luis Angel Acuna. I almost called him Ronald again. God bless it. Luis Angel Acuna, and guys like that. Are you willing to depart with any of those guys? For Crochet or maybe multiple of those guys. I don't know. I don't know. For me, I'd say no to Jet Williams. Maybe Drew Gilbert. Maybe Ryan Clifford. And that's like a maybe to no. I don't want to depart him. It's like I don't know. Ryan Mauricio. With the ACL surgery, what is he going to look like? He's slow to rehab here. It's not quite on schedule right now. With his return, is that somebody? All right, let's depart with him now. Before he comes back and he shits the bed and now he's not worth anything. I don't know. Luis Angel Acuna, we've seen what he can do for those 14 games. 14 magical games that he had with the Mets while Lindor was nursing a back injury. Is that what you should expect when he's a full-time major leaguer? I don't know. I hope so. But would you want to depart with that for Garrett Crochet? They're really tough calls. That's why David Stearns gets paid the money he does. And that's why he gets paid the money he does, and they have smart people with him. And and Stephen Cohen does his due diligence. They're not going to just jump into whatever just to make a move. They're going to be smart about it, and they're not going to blow up the farm if they don't have to. That's something that they've been. Steve Cohen, when he first bought the Mets, one of the things he did say is he wanted to build it from the ground up. That means looking at the farm, rebuilding the farm system, which has been pretty much atrocious. Because of just bad wheelings and dealings from the Wilpons and whoever the GMs were at those times. And so that's where we're at. Rebuilding the farm system. It looks like and it feels like it's getting there. A ton of position player prospects that appear to be very good prospects. Pitching wise, not really sure where we're at yet. Brandon Sprout, as of right now, looks like our number one pitching prospect. Of course, you had the Tidwells and stuff like that, and like I mentioned, Christian Scott earlier. So, but we'll see what happens. And I've been also hearing about Luis Castillo trade for Jeff McNeil, or Jeff McNeil for Luis Castillo. I guess that's how I should say it. And that's something I would actually really consider. Jeff McNeil. Now he struggled the past 2 seasons. Now second half of this season before he got hurt. It looked like he was almost the old Jeff McNeil. Do you count on that? Batting champion Jeff McNeil, or do you say, this is 30 in a row he's struggled? Me, I like Jeff McNeil, but I'd trade him. I'd trade him for Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo, 32 years old. Last season, 11-12 record, 3.64 ERA, over 175 in the third innings pitch, a 1.169 whip. He's had a lot of good years. The thing with him, 32, getting towards the mid-30s there as a pitcher, that's where you kind of start seeing the bigger drop off. But I know that the Mariners are looking to kind of dump, the contract, and I think without seeing it in front of me, I'd imagine Jeff McNeil probably has the better of the two contracts. Cheaper for the Mariners, and I think I would do this trade. Again, I like Jeff McNeil. There's a dead squirrel. There's a dead squirrel that's on a power line, which is absolutely ridiculous. I never saw anything like that, never even heard of anything like that. But anyway, where I live, there's a dead squirrel on a power line. And it happened about June, July, somewhere around that time. And he's still there. The freaking guy is still there. I mean, as soon as I seen him, I'm like, is that a freaking squirrel hanging from the power line? I thought he was alive at first. And as I came back through, 2-3 days in a row, and he's still hanging there, I'm like, oh, he's not alive. He's dead. And so I named him. I named him McNeil. And after I did that, All-Star break, we come back, Jeff McNeil's hitting the ball. He's hitting the ball hard. He's hitting home runs. He's hitting in big spots. He's looking very, very good. So I felt like maybe the dead squirrel on the power line, who I named McNeil, because if you don't know, Jeff McNeil's nickname is Squirrel. But I the dead squirrel I nicknamed McNeil, and that's when he started hitting. So I'm like, maybe that squirrel's a good luck charm, as he's all, basically he's all bones and leather now. All the hair's gone, and he's still hanging now. It's unbelievable. He's been, hanging from his head somehow. I don't know if he's welded fast to this wire or not. I don't know how the hell it happened. If he, fell and, maybe bit onto the wire. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I'm not an electrician either, so I don't know how that shit works. Was there a bare wire there, going across this electric line, and he fell and his face hit it, and like I said, it welded or melded to the wire. I don't know. He's still there. Unbelievable. And we've had crazy ass windstorms. We had heavy rain, a couple times in the summer. Even this fall, it's been super windy a bunch of times. He's still there. He is still there, and he's hanging in there. So as long as he's still there, I still see Jeff McNeil as a Met. If he falls off, I think if the squirrel falls off, I think Jeff McNeil will be traded. That's how I'm predicting things based on a dead squirrel on an electric line, a power line. It is what it is. That's how I do things around here. There's no logic behind it. If there's a dead squirrel, that's what I'm going off of. I'm looking for signs from God or dead squirrels. Excuse me. And so the other name that's been popping up a lot, and it goes back to Dave's Pete Alonso questions that he had. Is Pete there? Does Pete go? A free agent in Milwaukee is Willy Adames. And when the Mets played the wild card round against the Milwaukee Brewers, you kept hearing about Willy Adames. Just absolutely, they're jerking Willy Adames off, basically. They're rubbing him off. Not to get graphic on here, but it is what it is. I'm going to call a spade then. But anyway, the announcers I'm talking about, the TV announcers, which I couldn't stand watching the playoffs on TV this year. ESPN awful, Fox, FS1, it's just awful, not good at all. But anyway. They should do what the NFL does: put it on Nickelodeon, just let the whole slime, let the kids do it or whatever. Just do it like that. The hell with it. Willy Adames, his name just continues to pop up with the Mets, and with David Stearns being the former I don't know, was he GM or the president of baseball operations for Milwaukee? They have a connection there. He brought Willie to Milwaukee from Tampa Bay, kind of made him into a bit of a star, and so they're familiar with each other. And Willy Adames said he is willing to switch positions. So do the Mets, again, why? I thought Mark Vientos did a fine job at third base. Not terrific. He's not going to win a Gold Glove or anything like that, but good. He did a good job. At the plate, was awesome. So why would you move Willy Adames to third and move Mark Vientos either to first or DH? Why do that? I'm not really sure why you do that. Willy Adames is a very, very good shortstop. Super athletic. So you're playing shortstop and you're good. You're athletic. You're super athletic. You could probably play pretty much any position. That's just how it is. So I'm sure if they moved Willy Adames to third base, he'd do just fine. Probably better than Mark Vientos and whatever. But we already. I don't know. I don't get it. But looking at his stats, speaking stat wise, a lot of people are saying if the Mets sign Willie, that means Pete's gone. There's no use for Pete then. And so I'm like, well, how do these guys compare? So for stats this past season, you're looking WAR, wins above replacement. This past season, for Willie it was 3.1, Pete was 2.6. Willie had 32 home runs, 112 RBI career year. Pete. He had 34 home runs, 88 RBI. Willie did have 21 stolen bases. Pete did not. Pete had 3. Pete's not a runner. 74 walks for Willie, 70 for Pete, 173 strikeouts for Willy Adames, 172 for Pete. So as much as Pete struck out, Willie struck out more. He had one more, but still it was more. Willie hit 251, Pete hit 240. On base percentage, Willie was 331, Pete was 329. Slug, Willie was 462, Pete was 459, and your OPS was Willie 794, Pete 788. So all very close, all very close. I'd say the one spot would be the RBI where he kind of ran away with it. But Pete, more home runs, a couple less walks, less strikeouts, a batting average a little bit less, on base percentage 2 percentage points less, slug 3 percentage points less. So it's all very close. But you look at career. Willie Adames has been in the league 1 year longer than Pete, 1 season longer than Pete. He came up in 18. Pete came up in 19. So Willie Adames played in 880 games, 150 home runs, 472 RBI. Pete played in 846 games, less games, obviously because he won fewer season. Pete has 226 home runs and 586 RBI. So 100 more RBI and what is that? 76 more home runs. Walks, Willie 348, Pete 358. So Pete has more walks. Strikeouts, 982 strikeouts for Willie, 822 for Pete. Again, Pete 1 less season, but still, a lot more strikeouts there for Willie. Batting average, Willie Adames 248, Pete 249 so far in the careers. Basically a wash there. On base percentage, 339 for Pete, 331 for Willie. Slug, 514 for Pete, 462 for Willie, or 444 for Willie. And then your career OPS, 766 for Willie Adames, 854 for Pete. And it's just, for me, it's, Pete has had the better career so far, barring this past season. And even this past season, it's fairly close. The numbers were close. Now, fielding-wise, Willie Adames is much better than Pete. Speed, Pete does have, speed, very underestimated on the base paths. We've seen him quite a few times scoring from first base. Seen him there during the postseason run doing it. Very good. Pete's a very good runner on the bases, a very smart runner on the bases. You got to give him that. So I just think if you sign Willie, you're just signing Pete Alonso. I mean, you have to figure the money's probably going to be close to the same. I don't know. I would rather keep Pete Alonso. I'd rather keep Pete. Stat-wise, they've been both basically the same. They've been in the majors, pretty close to the same. A difference of 34 games. That's pretty quick math. See that? A difference of 34 games. That's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. And me personally, I feel like Willie Adames might be a little bit overrated. Maybe a little bit overrated because he played in Milwaukee. So, and that doesn't make any sense. That maybe sounds counterintuitive, if that's even the right word for that. What I'm trying to say, he was the big stud in Milwaukee. So he was more highly regarded than if he would have been on the team with a couple stars or whatever. So I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass now. I kind of lost it. But that's where I'm at. I say you keep Pete. If you can keep Pete and you get Willie, that's a win. But I say 100% keep Pete over Willie Adames. And when it comes down to Pete, Juan Soto, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit harder to justify Pete over Juan Soto. But that's something we'll do next week. So I got a couple more comments here. Dave, what's going on with Senga? I expect he'll be back next season and he'll be just as good as he was in 2023. He didn't look good in the postseason this year because he didn't pitch all year. He pitched one game. What was it, 5 1/3 innings pitched, and he looked outstanding in that game against the Braves. But when it came to the postseason, even the postseason, when he pitched against the Phillies, for those was it 2 or 3 innings, whatever it was, he hit up that leadoff home run to Schwarber. But after that, he pitched fairly well. He was able to shut down the Phillies, and I feel like one of the reasons why he shut down the Phillies, for those couple innings, was that the Phillies are ultra aggressive at the plate. They'll swing at anything. Those guys, Jesus Christmas, they're just free swinging out there, waving the bat around like this for strikeouts. It's unbelievable. But when he got to the Dodgers, he was way off against the Dodgers. But even when he got the ball close to the strike zone, they weren't biting. The Dodgers super patient, hitters. It was total opposite of Philly. And the Philly, their aggressiveness really hindered them and helped the Mets. Whereas the patience of the Dodgers did the total opposite. Really helped the Dodgers, hindered the Mets. So that's my assessment on that. But I think Sega will be totally fine, no problem. Great show, big man. I have to roll. I'll catch up with you later. See ya. Let me talk to you. Yeah, that's the old Dave, wrestling Dave. The showstopper from our Atomic Drop. And one day we're gonna bring the Atomic Drop back someday. I just don't know when. It's tough. It's really tough right now for me to get on the weekends and just even watch wrestling to catch the hell up. I'm way behind on everything with wrestling. And I really enjoyed doing the Atomic Drop with Dave and with Adam, but we haven't been on, I guess, probably since September. It's been tough. It has been tough, and if you follow me on here, I've been kind of spotty with my shows. I'm starting to get a little bit more evened out here. I'm starting to get a little bit more regular again. Just everything's kind of settling down some. And so I'm expecting to finally get a schedule that's gonna work and be able to stick to it. But we'll see what happens. And Eileen's laughing at me because I'm talking out of my ass. I assume that's why the laughing was a talking out of my ass comment. Eileen said, I miss you guys on the Atomic Drop. Yeah, we always had fun, doing the Atomic Drop. The guys, if you're looking for wrestling talk here on Out of the Box Sports, the Part-Time Marks on Tuesday nights. They were live last night. They do a great job talking wrestling. Basically, the wrestling insiders. One guy used to wrestle, for crying out loud. So they put on a great show. The Part-Time Marks, like I said, super intelligent. They know what they're talking about, and good stuff like that. So I have 2 more things to talk about here real quick. I'm going to get the hell out of here. My mouth is all dry, and I'm starting to fumble my words. So the Mets, a couple news, news and a note. The Mets poached, I don't know if that's the right word, a coach from the Yankees. There, Eileen, their assistant pitching coach. And I don't know how to say his freaking name. Desi Drusel. I don't know if it's Drusel or Druskel, because they have that CH in there. It's Druschel. Sometimes that could make a sound. And English isn't my forte. But anyway. So now he's the assistant pitching coach for the Mets. I'm not sure exactly 100% what that means for the Mets. Does that mean there could be a change coming up soon for at the hierarchy here in the pitching coaching staff? I don't know. We'll see. From what I heard, Ryan Finkelstein was talking about it on the Locked On Mets. I never heard of Desi, but very highly regarded. And of course, him being with the Yankees, Carlos Mendoza coming from the Yankees. They're familiar with each other, so we'll see what happens there. We'll see what Desi's role is coming over the next few years as the assistant pitching coach. If one day he does take over pitching coach as the Mets head pitching coach, who I can't think of right now. I'm getting tired. The Mets head pitching coach, when he decides to either retire or even move on to a different role in the organization. He's been there for a long time. So we'll see what happens. And then the last but not least, we have international pitching news from Japan. Roki Sasaki. That's hard. My mouth is dry. It's hard for me to say. Hiroki Sasaki, big pitching prospect out of Japan. He's actually, and I don't understand all the international rules. I really don't. But I guess since he wants to be a major leaguer now, his team in Japan, they're going to allow it. And so it hurts him, and it also hurts them. It hurts him because he would have to sign an international free agent contract or international rookie contract, or I don't know what exactly the term was, but basically he'll be paid almost like a minor leaguer, maybe a little bit better than a minor leaguer, but like you've seen guys like Kodai Senga or Yoshinobu Yamamoto, those guys coming over a little bit differently, getting paid a large sum of money. Well, they waited for a certain amount of time. I can't remember what it was, like if it was years of service or if it was an age thing. And then they posted to be on a major league roster, and they're able to sign as a regular free agent. And so they're able to sign for a bigger contract for years or whatever, for whatever they want. Whereas for Hiroki Saki, he's going to be limited as to what he can sign for whatever reason. I don't know the whole ins and outs of it. It sounds stupid to me, but whatever. And so for the team, I feel like I heard Ryan Finkelstein say on Locked On Mets that if it's if you're like a Yoshinobu Yamamoto or Kodai Senga, when they signed, that team got 10% of what they signed for, I think it was. Whereas now for Hiroki Saki, they won't get that. The team won't get that. So it's all confusing. It all doesn't make sense. The cat is still on my back, and I've had a hard time moving around here. It's very distracting. Little cat paws in my back right now. Now he's starting to poke me a little bit. Oh, the old bastard. But anyway, fantastic career so far in Japan. Career ERA of 2.02, averaging 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. Unbelievable. And he's going to end up with the Dodgers. They're going to have the triad that you've seen in Lethal Weapon. Was it 4? Lethal Weapon 4. Where you the one with Jet Li in it, and the fathers or whatever the hell they were, the 3 fathers, from Japan, and that's what they're trying to do there in Los Angeles. But I definitely see this guy going West Coast. The West Coast is more heavily Asian populated, I believe, and that could be just stereotype. I don't know. I don't know that for sure. I've never been in California, so I don't know. I've never been in Washington State or Oregon, anywhere there. I've been in Nevada. I've been to Las Vegas, so. There's that. That's as far west as I've been so far. And it was many years ago. So, all right. Enough of me yammering on. I'm going to get the hell out of here. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and read some crap off. Our good friend, our sponsor, our lone sponsor for Out of the Box Sports right now, Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. His office in New Jersey is located in Cherry Hill on 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And his office is in Pennsylvania. He has one in Pittsburgh at 500 Grand Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And he has one in Philadelphia on 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. Be sure to tell him that Out of the Box Sports sent you, and he'll hook you up with a great deal. So I have a new sponsor, and it's W Energy Drinks. You could reach them. You can check their products out at www.w.gg. They do energy drinks. They do I guess they call it hydration type drinks as well. You can buy the energy drinks in cans or in powders. So I've gotten the powders. I've done the hydration ones first. I got a pretty cool shaker, and bought the hydration packs that go with it. Very good stuff. And then I decided to try the energy drink, and I got another shaker. I bought another shaker besides that, really cool looking shaker, some little like fox or rat looking thing on there, pretty neat looking. And I got it's called Cali O Cream, and it's mango / orange cream flavor. Smells great. I think it tastes great. And this is an energy drink. And this is an energy powder, and I was a little bit nervous about taking it because I don't want to get all jittery. And surprisingly, I didn't. I did not get jittery. It's made with all natural flavors, and I guess the main one of the main ingredients is like a coffee extract, a coffee something from the coffee bean. I don't remember exactly what it was, but that's it's all natural stuff. They don't get into a whole bunch of chemicals or whatever, like some of those other energy drinks do. And very good flavor. Like I said, I didn't get jittery. I did feel that burst of energy though after I did. Probably not right away. I guess it was probably like an hour or so later. I feel a little bit more pep in my step. And like I said, without the jitters, I'm down with that. Then it's when I drink coffee, I don't get the jitters. When I drink a Monster, I get the jitters. I get the jitters. With this W energy drink, no jitters. I still got the same type of energy boost, no jitters, and so that was awesome. I'm down for that. I don't want the jitters. I don't want heart palpitations or nothing like that. Thinking I'm having a heart attack and clutching at my chest, and here it is. It's just I had a jittery energy drink, a Monster or whatever. So be sure to check that out. Use the promo code TheBatCave for 10% off your order. Once again is W Energy Drink at www.w.gg. That's DUBBY.gg. They have some cool merch, but be sure to use that promo code TheBatCave, all one word, TheBatCave, for 10% off your order. You can check me out on X at TheBatCave OOTBS. I appreciate if you follow me. That'd be awesome. I follow back, unless you're one of those fake accounts that are trying to get me divorced. A very scantily clad woman. It's like, you're not a Mets fan. You're some scamming, two-timing lady of the night. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that one. But I see them pop up once in a while, and it's like, whatever. I guess if I was built like that, I guess maybe I'd throw it out there too, see what I can get. I don't know. Guess moving on from that, I don't even know where to go from there. Check me out on YouTube as well at TheBatCave _OOTBSE. That's at TheBatCave _OOTBSE. That's my YouTube channel. I'd appreciate if you subscribe there as well. Yammering. But most importantly, first and foremost, be sure to check out Out of the Box Sports. We have a lot of great shows here. Great stuff going on. And that's at OOTBox Sports on YouTube and X. Facebook, you can go just type in Out of the Box Sports Entertainment, and you can find them there. You give them a follow, like, subscribe. And once again, on YouTube and X, at OOTBox Sports. All right, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'm losing it. Like I said, my mouth is dry. I'm stammering. I'm yammering. I'm stuttering. Sound like a fool. So that's all I have for today. I'll be live hopefully tomorrow morning with Silver and Black Lair, Raiders edition. I'll talk about some Raiders news, and I'll look ahead to their next this upcoming week's opponent, and we'll go from there. And of course, next Monday, Silver and Black Lair LA Kings edition, and then next Wednesday, right back here, same bat time, same bat channel with the Bat Cave. All right, I'll see you guys next time I see you. Hopefully here on the Bat Cave or on one of my other shows. But until then, let's go Mets.